Okay, scholars, it is time to chat about purpose and mode. These are sort of the building blocks of good writing and good communication. So let's start with purpose. Purpose is the why behind our writing. It is why we're doing something, what we're hoping to accomplish. So, for example, as you are reading, you may ask yourself, is the reader or is the writer trying to give us information? Or are they trying to argue a point? Are they evaluating something? Or maybe they're analyzing something. Each purpose shapes the way the writer approaches their writing, and it can also shape the way you approach your reading. If somebody is writing to a form, for example, the goal is to make complex information clear and accessible. It's like being a tour guide through unfamiliar territory. So if you're reading something that's informative, you're paying attention to those things you didn't know. On the other hand, when you're arguing or persuading, you're trying to change minds or inspire action. And writing an argument requires an understanding of the audience and crafting words carefully. So as you're reading, you may want to pay attention to the words that the author chooses. That's going to tell you what kind of an audience they're speaking to. Another thing that you can pay attention to is where they published. For example, if they published in a magazine or newspaper like The Atlantic or the LA Times, they're probably talking to a more general readership. Whereas if they're publishing in an academic journal, well, that's meant for experts. Evaluation is all about assessing the effectiveness of something else. So the writer will be criticizing, weighing the strengths and weaknesses of something. And so what you want to be doing is sort of paying attention and maybe even comparing and contrasting, doing a pro-con analysis. And then analysis and synthesis are about digging deep into an idea or a text, pulling it apart, putting it back together, revealing new insights. So as a reader, you want to look for those cues to make sure that you're following along. And later on, as you're writing your analysis, you want to remember that analysis is all about giving your reader some context for what you're explaining. Now let's talk about modes real quick. If the purpose is why you're doing it, then the mode is how you're doing it. These are the patterns that you use to develop your ideas. So you've got compare and contrast, where you're looking at similarities and differences between two things. You've got cause and effect, which explore how one thing leads to another thing. Narration will tell a story, and illustration might use an example to make a point. Classification divides things up into categories. Definition and process explain what something means or how something works. So the modes are like different tools in your writing toolbox. And here's a pro tip for you. Most pieces of writing use multiple modes. So as you are reading, look for those different modes and how they are trying to explain things, and look at them as models for your own writing. A person might start with a narrative, for example, and then move into cause and effect and end with a comparison. So as you are reading, pay attention to these things because they're going to be helpful for you as you move into the writing part of this term. Remember that understanding purpose and mode is not just about following the rules, it's about communicating effectively and engaging your readers so they're not tempted to click away before you've made your point. So as you're reading, pay attention to what the writers do to try to keep you engaged.